Okay, fellow friends, subscribers, YouTubers and metal detectors, Digging Norway checking in again. Sorry, it's been a while since my last video. I've been busy with school. Today I had an exam. Normally I would go out and hunt, which is impossible because it's minus 15 degrees. So I thought I would make this small little movie about my copper coins and some kings and stuff, and some beer. So the agenda, not to make it very formal, but more to kind of structurize myself. We're gonna go through some copper coins and some kings in the period of 1771 to after 1814, almost up until our independence in 1905. I'm gonna give you a tip on how to make a good Christmas card for people that might have given you access to areas to hunt, and we're going to talk about Christmas beer, which is a very important tradition. And to all you new subscribers, you know, I've been showing maps about Norway and Sweden and Denmark, and I thought, oh shit, I need an atlas, you know. I need an atlas to kind of put this into perspective. This is the only atlas I've got. It's not very, it's beautiful. I mean, this is beautiful. But this is what I've got. We're going to concentrate about Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden and Denmark, and that's inevitable because when we find old coins, we will have to go through different periods of unions and kingdoms with these three countries. So let's start from the beginning. From the year 1450 to 1814, Norway was a part of the Danish kingdom. It was a kingdom, we had Danish kings. We had plenty of Christians and Frederiks. If you remember when we went down to Fredrikstad, I think it was Frederick II that founded that city, and that's why it's called Fredrikstad, of course. We're going to focus on the coins that I've found, which is Christian VII, the Loony, and Frederick VI, the Pussy. And then, in 1814, something happens as a result of changing European history, Napoleon losing the war. Norway goes into this union with Sweden from the year 1814 until 1905, when we finally get our independence. This period only has 4 kings, or 5 kings if we include Karl XIII, which I will not do because he was an old and boring man. I will start with a real cool guy called John, and I'll come back to that later. But we only got 4 kings to focus on from this period. Karl John XIV, Oscar I, Karl XV and Oscar II, which I've mentioned many times before, and which was kind of my first old king to find. Now, Oscar I didn't make any copper coins, so I can't talk about him. Oscar II, I bored you with that before, and it's not copper, it's bronze, and you know them. So I'll focus on Karl John and Karl XV. Now, but I will start with Christian and Frederick first, because this is from the Danish and Norwegian period. As you know, coins from 1650, coins from before 1650 must be handed into the government. But we still have a lot of time to play around with. I mean, you still have all these beautiful coins, right? Now, more or less all the coins from Frederick III, except 3 years, you can find and keep, assuming that you have made your arrangements right with the guy who owns the land. All the Christian V's, you can keep. Beautiful silver coins. Not only are they a piece of art, that they are made of silver and that they have sustained all these hundreds of years, they are good representatives of the time they've been. That's the moment. Just the feeling of holding a piece of history like that is immense. They can also be quite valuable. Take, for example, if you find this one. 1 specie dollar, you know that is the predecessor of the dollar, right? Dollar. 1663, silver. It can be worth $5,000. Maybe even 10. But that's very rare. That's not very, I mean, that's not likely, but it's possible. So that's of course makes these silver coins very, very targeted objects, in addition to relics and other stuffs as well. But today's subject was copper shillings, and I'm gonna start with Christian the Seventh, which is the king of I have, like the oldest Danish king that I have. This one was found straight behind my apartment in a small forest. You might remember the movie. I went completely bananas when I found it, and it's in extremely good condition. This one was found in the forest. These I have found during this year, and they are found in the plow layer of the fields, and they are rotten. You can try to wash them, keep them in olive oil for a while, but you know, it's true what Kjetil says. Once you can identify them, just leave them, let them be what they are. They are old copper coins, and that's it. This one I also found on a field, quite good condition. I washed it a little bit too aggressively. I've learned from that one. This is Frederick VI, the son of Christian VII, and the last Danish king to rule. As you can see, 1810, only 4 years before the Danes had to give us up. 2 shilling, Frederick VI, 1810, a good specimen. And here you have more typical specimens found on the field. It's a shame, but that's how it is. So that kind of finish up the Danish period. I do have some silvers from these two guys, but I'm gonna save that for the Christmas video. Okay, then we have the situation with Napoleon and the war in Europe. This crazy imperialistic French guy who wants to conquer the world, who wants to set himself above God. And we have the story about Karl John, which was king of Norway at the beginning of the 18th century. He was the second king of Norway in the Swedish period. Interestingly enough, this guy used to be a general for Napoleon. So, because Napoleon lost the war, Sweden are given Norway. This guy used to fight for Napoleon and ended up being king of Norway and Sweden. How? Why? What happened? Well, obviously he changed side. He went against his former general, or his former emperor, and actually contributed by supporting the UK and Russia to defeat Napoleon. And in return, he are giving Sweden and Norway happy days. What does his coins look like? Here you have his 2 shilling, 1832. This one is bought in the store. It's never been in the ground. It's in quite good condition, and it's quite expensive. Not quite expensive, but it's, for a copper coin, it's expensive. This is how they are found in the field. You can identify them, and it's easier to identify them once you got the original. That's why I got the original. And because I wanted to see, how does these coins look like for real? I mean, fuck, I'm tired of digging these up, right? So, this is his 1 shilling. Same design, smaller size. 1 shilling. 1820. This is how they look like when you found them, or when I found them. This is his half shilling, 1841. Same king, Karl John, and this is how they look like when I found them. So that's Karl John for you. And as we know, Oscar I didn't make any copper coins, so I can't show you that. But we got Karl the 15th. This cartoon, he's a wannabe warrior. He tried to he wanted to create Norway, Sweden, Denmark as one empire, and he was not the first, and he failed. I bought some beautiful specimens of his coins. These are almost uncirculated, perfect condition coins. 1870, 1 shilling. I haven't found any of these in the ground, but I have found this half shilling, which has a very special design. Not on this side, you'll see that one is quite similar to Karl John. But that's the only Norwegian coin with this kind of design, with the circle and the nomination in the middle, half for half a shilling, which makes it very easy to identify them. Once you find something like this with a small circle in it, in an old field, you can be pretty sure it's one of those. So I've got a couple of those. So that was Carl XV. When it comes to Oscar II, forget about him. I bored you so much with him. You know, his coins are they're bronze, 5 öre. Then we don't use shillings anymore, and this video is supposed to be about shillings. So then we have, due to the monetary union in 1874 and 1875, went to use krones and öre instead of shilling and dollar. So that kind of concludes the copper, shilling and kings part of today's little video. So that was 6-7 minutes of very concentrated Scandinavian king and coin history. Now to a small little tip. Okay, I've been lucky enough to be given permission to hunt on 3-4 farms that are situated very close to each other. So what I've done is I've taken photos of a selection of the finds from each farm, and I've written, these are a selection of finds done with my metal detector the autumn of 2010 on such and such fields. And the names of the farms, I've just removed them with some black tape, but I have the name under each farm that are represented with the finds, right? So you can say that this is farm X, and this is John's farms, and this is Maria's farms, and I turned it into a Christmas card. Inside the Christmas card, I've written, or I haven't written, it's ordered online. Thank you for an exciting autumn on your fields. Warm Christmas wishes and a Happy New Year. And then I've written details under each farm, so they can have a look at the picture and they can read what it is. Oh, okay, it's a musket ball from the 17th century. It's Christian VII copper shilling. It's a 4 shilling Frederick VI from 1809. And John's farm, he can read that that was a Russian lead seal and that was a 2 öre Oscar. That makes it interesting for them to get like a nice greeting in the Christmas time with some details about what I've found. And I conclude with, I hope to see you again next autumn, and I write a little personal message over there. This can be done online for like $1-2 per card, and I'll send out to 4 farms. This picture has the finds of 2 farms on it, and I'll do that. And I'm sure when I call them again next year and say, hey, I want to go detect your fields again, they will be more than happy to let me go there. So that was the Christmas card tip. Now let's move on to something much more important. Christmas beer. Now, as you might have noticed, if you pay attention to details, I am kind of fond of beer. And this is the best brewery in Norway. Sorry, Frederick, but this is the best. Ås, or Ass, as you like to make fun of it. And for Christmas, they make a special Christmas beer, which is very different from your normal beer. It's very dark, kind of sweet and caramelish. The foam is more like a toffee. They burned the malt, making it sweeter. It's heavy. You can't have many of these. I'm gonna leave you with that. You've had some copper coins, you've had some kings, you have had a good tip to make a Christmas card to your landowners that gives you permission to hunt, and you've had some beer. I wish you happy hunting, those of you that still can hunt. Not many videos posted nowadays, but some can obviously still hunt, and you are lucky, very lucky. I tried to mitigate my drawback symptoms with the vacuum cleaning my apartment here the other day, and it didn't work. So happy hunting and take care, and I'll see you around Christmas when all the exams are finished. and I'll show you some silver coins and some other exciting relics.